And we are live. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Zaidef, and this is my bookshelf. It has been quite a little while, and in that time I have taken advantage to bring you a much better web camera, which has a slightly better picture quality, but most importantly, the end of all the audio problems that used to plague my earlier videos. So, now that the hardware is powered up, I guess, to a degree that should be the basic standard for viewability on YouTube. I'm hoping more of you will enjoy the videos, hopefully sit through the end. Let me know if you want me to, if you think it'd be a good idea to get rid of the older videos, maybe reshoot some of the better ones. I can't really think which ones that'd be, but, well, you know how that goes. There'll probably be new rants retreading old ground in the near future, but for now, we are revisiting an old subject, old favorite, but with new materials. Today is Super Dungeon Explorer. The Forgotten King Kickstarter has closed about a year ago. It ended, and everyone has received their materials within the last couple of months. There's still a few stragglers complaining on the Kickstarter page and on the Soda Pop Ninja Division sites that they still haven't gotten their stuff. Fortunately, they are a tiny minority compared to the number of people who are currently at their homes on and in YouTube, in forums, and other places, letting everyone know that they have their game and they are, for the most part, satisfied with the project. Now, I can't speak for everyone, and I can't really speak to calm down or assuage the fears or anger or anything else of people who already received the product. That's not the motivation I have for this video. Right now, when I'm thinking of what I got, I think primarily as a consumer for these type of games. I want to share the information I have of the experience so that you can decide for yourself whether this game is something you would want to pick up, whether this product is something that's worthwhile to you. Which brings us to what's on the table today. Today we have the Dungeons of Crystalia Tiles map set in all its glory, the Von Drakk Ghost House tile pack maps in all its glory, and the last of the rewards I picked up for the Forgotten Kings Kickstarter, which would be the Stilt Town Zombies War Pack. Pretty straightforward. And I normally wouldn't, but I couldn't help myself. The Twilight Knight. Those of you familiar with her, or who think that's familiar but can't quite place it, she is a crossover miniature from the Kickstarter, also in fulfillment. The, oh gosh, Monster. Wait, no, that's not right. I'm going to make myself look a little foolish. I will remember that word that's on the tip of my tongue. And we are not re-editing, we are not retaking. I have literally sat on this product for over a month thinking to myself, get the stuff, make the unboxing look good, and then get back to it. Nothing is going to stop us this time, even my brain's incapacity to go through this. So let's go ahead and start unboxing. Now, the Dungeons of Crystalia tile pack may be a little familiar to you if you picked up the original Super Dungeon Explorer, what's being called Dragon Peaks box, which is the subject being revisited in the new Kickstarter that is starting sometime later this year. Maybe as early as this month, maybe 1 or 2 months away. But the Dragon Peak Mountains is the name for the expansion for the original Super Dungeon Explorer box, even though most people, rarely name it. It's like the first movie, like Star Wars is Star Wars. Few people call it A New Hope. So anyway, I'm going in circles. Basically, the first set, I've got the map right here, had mostly the Kobold Warrens, and some of the back two of the maps had on the reverse Crystal Caves. And that is the theme of Dungeons of Crystalia. One quick note about the box. This is packaging, probably for what they're intending to sell in the stores. This is not exactly the best condition. I haven't even tried, and it's already tearing open. right here, it would be child's play for someone to swipe something out of this. So take that not so much as a buyer beware. I would recommend to Soda Pop Minis to do something about that. It'd be a bad thing for these things to be easily openable and robbed from at a store. But it looks like a problem that can't be fixed. Within you have the plastic, perfectly shrink wrapped, and the cards are attached right here. The miniatures, on the other hand, have fallen off of this little plastic insert, which is not even fastened with glue or tape. Okie dokie. Well, this is, despite everything, it's stapled on the bottom corners. So, in theory, you can just go ahead and reseal this into the bottom. Alright then. So, we have, in terms of miniatures, 12 little multicolor transparent plastic slimes. And to really show off what they're like, let me go ahead and pull out the cards. Now, one of the big changes for Super Dungeon Explorer with the most recent expansion, Forgotten King, was that they revisited the entire mechanics for the game and instituted a system of terrain. So, all these map packs have different terrain features presented here within terrain cards. We have difficult terrain, chasms, structures, goddess statues, sentinels, so forth and so on. Some of these are repeated from the Forgotten King pack, and box set. The pack of cards within the Forgotten Kings box set. Some of them are probably unique to this set. I don't have the card with me to go through that. So that I can compare, I will make a list on the bottom of the information of this video annotating that. Now, on to the slimes. Slimes are insignificant, which means they are creeps. Creeps have two ways of playing, either within the arcade mode, which is basically unmanned video game, and versus the console mode, which means one of your players takes the role of the dungeon to try to defeat your heroes. Now the cards are all the same, and I'm going to pull them out for one very important reason, and I'll show you what I mean. There are, with the miniatures, currently 3 sculpts. Now, this is the citrine slime. It's kind of vacant looking. Big, tall, vacant looking. Can't say too much good or bad about him. His eyes are pointed in the same direction. I think this is him. Now, we have the 2 other gels who are not in the same thing. Did I say gels? I'm sorry, I mean slimes. Next up, we have the emerald slime. For your viewing pleasure. He is very happy looking. Now, here we have a tall green slime. He's not the right one. And we have an angry green slime. And we have a gooey looking green slime. So no, I think green slime is the loser. Now, here we have the ruby slime. Yep, nope, no question about it. That's the inside out angry face. And here we have him. The red slime, angry face. Sorry he doesn't show up very well on camera. He is transparent, so he really reflects the light. And finally we have the kind of gooer looking one. And finally we have the not quite all there sapphire slime. Yeah, his just leaning over, one eye over the other. He's sort of got that Phineas and Ferb look on his face. And his mouth is open like he's trying to whistle or spit something out. Yep, here we got him. This guy is quite a bit more purplish looking than blue, unless you get him quite right. So, that is the roster. We have all 4 slimes, multiple colors, and we have them in the angry red, the, I guess, brain donor blue, and last but not least, the core is sort of just sitting there, not quite anything, citrine. So the 3 primary colors run out, and none of your slimes look happy. This is important to mention because the original Kickstarters who were backing were only showed 2 of these production models, and they thought, well, what the heck? We only have 2 of the sculpts shown in the pictures for all of the slime colors, and they're not even the ones we really wanted. I think they got only yellow and red's faces shown, and they were really unhappy about losing the happy-looking green. But well, so that's just to minimize it. You have 3 facial expressions for each of the slimes. All the slimes look pretty good. They're well, they're not they may not be the best of sculpts, or they may not do it for you. I am actually really satisfied with them. I don't know that I could be happier with them. But when you get down to it, they're transparent, they are all the right colors that we were expecting, and they are and because they are transparent plastic, that means that you don't actually have to paint them. Now, I know that for some of you that means a little less work. For me in particular, it means a lot less work. That means I don't have to toss them into a pile of miniatures. So I'm actually very happy with them. Now, on to the map itself. I have babbled a lot on these little guys. For those of you who forget, basically the rules are a slime will spawn whenever a insignificant creep spawns. That's up to the rule book. There's differences between how that happens in the regular game versus the arcade mode. Let me grab my hobby knife, get this plastic sheet open. Try not to damage this. Be a shame if it's sat in my desk for months, and now that it's finally going to be let out, that's when I ruin it. But as I was saying, all the creeps have different rules, and they spawn as they spawn according to the rule book. But the nice thing about these is that they affect your character's equipment slot. So instead of being like a quick beatdown on a character for a weak attack, maybe finish off a character who has weak armor, or not even be a nuisance to someone who doesn't have anything, for the most part the creeps are ignorable. These guys are quite different because they latch onto a hero the second they get close to it, and they can only be targeted by the hero. So someone slips onto your character's ruby slot. In the case of the ruby slime, your character can't use red equipment until after that character spends an action to specifically eliminate the slime. So that's a nice little creep variety. Okay, we have the maps, and they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exactly what you expected. We have an almost T section here. Probably can't tell, but there are little icons all over the board, for example, and these correspond to the spawning points for all sorts of things on the cards. Traps, creeps, and such. Here we have a second underground cobblestone mining facility, I guess, or a crystal cavern, whatever you envision it. Nice little cross section in the front. This one looks like it, the other side looks like it had quite a bit of wells. This one's just more caverns, multiple colors. This one's a very nice orange glow. This one's nice. This one could probably pass as dungeons. It's got 2 rooms with a single doorway in each of them. This one has a large doorway, small hallways, and 2 side rooms. That could be a good dungeon entrance. depending on the type of scenario or game you want to play. Sort of coiling around the center design for this one. This one, central hallway and some side rooms. And the last tile is pretty much a bit of a hedge mage based around the central orange zone. And the last one, ooh, best for last, I got lucky. A central combat zone based around this statue in the middle. I've got to say, I was hesitant at first to pick up the Dungeons of Crystalia because I am not a huge fan of the slimes. They're pretty nice, but, you know, not a huge fan. But I've got to say, these tiles look very nice, and I am happy with the variety they'll provide for my games. Something I want to compare really quickly before it gets asked. This is a tile from the original Super Dungeon Explorer. I've already shown it to you. And this one is a tile from the Forgotten King. Okay. Now, to compare them is really simple. The original board has sort of micro spaces in between each and every one of the squares. And it has a bit of an edge to it on the sides that's beyond where the squares are. So if you put them right next to each other, you have a bit of a spacings for them. In comparison, the Forgotten King tiles are noticeably smaller. They fit within it quite loosely. That's because there's no edging and because there's no 0.5 millimeter thick spacing between the squares. Now, the crystals dungeon fits perfectly with the scale of Forgotten King. And it has all the same map icons. So, the new tiles are made in the style of the new game, which means they will they're pretty much good to go. They'll overlap. They're not something that was made in between one or the other. So that pretty much tells you that Soda Pop Miniatures is moving on from the older style completely, which is something, you know, not to be surprised since we're moving into Super Dungeon Legends, which is basically a re-release of the original game. Now, time to open up the Von Drakk Ghost House tile pack. Hopefully my chatting has not made you hyper conscious of the dead air from my tearing this open. I'm trying not to damage anything. Okie dokie, we have it open. We have, again, the cards in the rip out section. You have the dungeon tiles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you have what may or may not have been the main reason for you to pick up this set in the first place. Rattlebones. Hey, creepy, creepy Rattlebones. I am a big fan of undead monsters for your type of arcade games. The basic skeleton is it's really the standard when it comes to determining just what kind of things you're fighting. Some people like orcs, some people like vampires, but I think really a risen undead skeleton is just really what you compare everything to. Now, the Rattlebones were changed between the original Von Drakk Manor release, which was part, I guess, of the first generation of Super Dungeon Explorer, and now, primarily because in the past they were just a sort of minion, and now they are part of the creep class. Okay. The bag took a little bit to open. It's not bent over with tape with glue or adhesive like the other one. It's just very weakly sealed. This box was harder to open than the other one, but not much of a challenge. Unlike the last set, this one has only one card for each model. Because the Rattlebones are insignificant, you will not have to keep any counters on them. They only have one life, they take one hit, they don't have any armor, they will be on and off very quickly. Again, you have the second pile of cards, which are tile effects. Most of these repeat: difficult terrain, chasm structure, goddess, sentinel, champion, bramble, spawn, location, fresh grave, and secret passage. I don't know that we needed this many copies of them, but if you bought just the decks and you picked up something like the Stilt Town Zombies Warband, it's potentially arguable that you only have heroes and nothing else, so with the exception of rules, which you can pick up online for free, actually. You can download them. I don't know if that's still available, but there are alpha rules available on the website for free. You will be able to play with the map pack, with the contents of Adventure Box. So, or if you just lost your cards, I guess that's the main reason to have it. Redundancy is not a bad thing in most games, unless the rules don't correspond. So, again, like the contents of the game that I am forgetting. Oopsie. I think that's Kingdom Death Monster. That's the name. Finally hit me. I will leave the notes in the description or in the comment section. So, okay, these are stuck together a little more. All 6 vacuum formed. Let's bring it out. First tile, nice big hallway, purple mood lighting. The second one, ooh, exterior. We have a garden and some shacks, light circles from torches around them. This is very nice, actually. I think this is going to be my entrance to the lair permanent. Kind of a shame. This hallway isn't too bad, but I don't think I can resist having a permanent outdoors entrance to the lair. Like I was saying, with the Rattlebones, I'm a very big fan of the undead for Castlevania-style encounters, so I have a feeling that that's where I'll be really leaning. Okay, ooh, lucky me. We have a second exterior town, and as you can see right there, this statue in the center looks like Van Wilding, or maybe one of his ancestors. This is really cool. And unlike the last tile, which I could probably get away without, this one, on the reverse side, reveals a slit stoneway interior to a bathing or swimming pool with nice statues that are fountains dropping water in. This is going to be a hard one to choose between one or the other. Ooh, very nice. This, oh wow, I am blown away by this set. This exterior is a very nice house. You could argue about making it the interior to a small cottage or the entrance to the full mansion. I don't know. Very nice with a garden, tadpoles, and pumpkin patches. I really like this. And the other side, whoo, just as nice, is a carpeted hallway to some bedrooms. Very nice bed in there, 2 of them, rugs, windows, and one room with a coffin in it. And another one that looks like an alchemy lab. This is very nice. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Okay. It looks like the theme is common. One outside scenario, one inside. This next one is a more thorough pumpkin patch. But the inside is a very exquisite dining room with statues that show angels and demons, I think, fighting each other, or in the language of the world of Super Dungeon Explorer, Celestians versus demons, or vampires. Very nice dining room table set. This is really, really nice. I'm down to my last 2 sets. This is another exterior scene to a mausoleum. Has some freshly dug graves, perfect for the rules. And the next one is a little bit confusing to me. It looks like bookcases with secret rooms behind them, all built around a hallway of ladders or steps or whatever you want to call them, coming up or going down or going out to another room. It's a little hard to get the perspective on these. I think this one's going up, and I think this one's going up, but these two are going downwards. If you want to play with multi-levels for these, that would be interesting. I'm actually tempted to do that myself, seeing it that way. It's a very amusing thought, but it definitely plays to it. Now, unlike the last one, I don't know that this is saving the best for last, but we have one final exterior scene. We have the graveyard with all those little guys, and one large mausoleum. We have a pit down there. Don't know what really fits in there, or if it's a statue. Well, actually, yes, it's upside down. It is a knight riding a statue. It looks very much like the questing knight with a Forgotten King. That's pretty cool. And the final room is another long hallway, carpeted. Seems to be heading downwards, with exterior exits towards other side rooms and some nicely lit windows and a bit of a bonfire going there. Now this is all really nice. Something I'm kind of sad not to have seen, but didn't really expect to because of Super Dungeon Explorer's need to have 4 open rooms, was something that looked like a boss chamber, you know? Something really big that everything would fit inside. Kind of like the bathing pool is a big central room that you could argue is the final destination, not the big thing. So there's no Castlevania lair as the end, but it's all in all a really nice set. I am very happy with this. I have a lot of skeleton creeps, and I have great tiles to have both an interior and exterior battle section. Let's move on to Stilt Town Zombies. Now, unfortunately for me, I still don't actually have the Von Drakk set. I really wish I did, but unfortunately, I didn't order it through the Kickstarter. I'd already bought quite a bit of stuff, actually. And I just couldn't budget to pick it up. And to be honest, it wasn't at really much of a discount during the Kickstarter itself. So I thought maybe they're, gonna re-release it later, or maybe I'll pick it up in on a web store that has it at a discount, and it'll come out to pretty much the same price anyway. Much love for Soda Pop, much love for Kickstarters, but as a consumer, I've got to look out for me first, and if I can get it cheaper elsewhere without waiting a month, 3 months, or a year to pick it up at the post office, then I'd say that is what's in my best interest. So, Stilt Town Zombies, I did not resist, unlike the other sets, which I was very much tempted by, but allowed to pass me by, because zombies and the voodoo man here look very much in keeping with the undead theme, and like I said, that is probably what I am most a fan of. Now the box got pretty much scrunched in my time with me, so I'll let you know if that did anything to it. Pulling it open, I don't see any tape inside. Now just like the tile boxes, I didn't see anything like there's no guides to building, there's no maps, there's no product catalog within, so I don't know if that's good or bad. Some may call it a missed opportunity, some may not. Okay. Pack of cards, just like everything. Like the Dungeons of Crystalia set, this one is held by glue. No need to pull out the knife. And we have the little pet card, Mr. Bitey. Reminiscent of the Zombies Carrot Bunnies Kickstarter game that was unfortunately canceled not too long before it started. Ninja Division's first attempt into the Kickstarter. I haven't really heard anything about that one yet. Maybe it'll come back once they redo it. Wish them all the luck on that one. It's not really my thing, but And we have Mr. Bitey as a wonder, just like all the other pets. His full-size card. And his This set's intriguing card. Prize, Brain Souffle. Showing you the artwork there. My camera is not good enough to show you the artwork at all, so I don't think I should be in problem with that. Let's go through the zombies. We have the mini-boss, Gruesome George, the Grabby House spawning point. It is paired, so you have to have two of them out at once. I don't know if there are two of these in there. We have the Shamble Priest, who is this little voodoo man right here. Perfect staff. I think, oh, this is interesting. I thought at first he was inspired by Dr. Facilier from Disney's The Princess and the Frog, but he's got actual curls in the back of his head there, like a wig almost. Interesting little design idea. And because it cannot be left out without mentioning, the lovely Survivor Marie Claude, based of course on the lovely Marie Claude Bourbonnais, I believe is the pronunciation. If not, forgive me. I will try to fix that off. The miniature is gray, as you can see. Let me hope that focuses pretty well. Perfectly 3D. Frying pan and rolling pin in hand. I don't know if I'll be able to paint her to do her justice. But she's nice. Don't think I've ever tried painting someone who is platinum blonde before. Not even the elves. Went with a more orangey blonde for the last ones. So that will be a challenge for me. I'm one of those guys who likes to paint his set as close to the original as possible. I think that when you see something on the box and the artwork doesn't really match, sometimes you don't really think of it as individuality, you think of it as not being accurate. Which is cool for some things, like, you know, official characters. You're going to be upset if Captain America is green instead of blue, for example. But for personal hobbies like that, yeah, I mean, if it's individual guys, they don't look right. But with war games, you know, you can't have Ultramarines that aren't blue, you can't have Signar that aren't blue, you can't have Khador who aren't red. Well, maybe if you can put them black, but never mind that. Okay, well that's the type of guy I am, basically. I like to paint by color by numbers, as it were, because it's hard enough to do all the other details. No. Gruesome George, appropriately big, appropriately tall, and detailed, the Final Fantasy vibe of well-detailed bosses who are not in scale with the chibi style of the guys that are well preserved. We have the Pudge zombie minion, who does look like he's in the right scale. Okay, let me see. Illumination isn't great on him. He's big. If this were Zombicide, he would definitely be called a fatty. But he's pretty cool, I think. We have your ordinary Swampies. Now, the story for Super Dungeon Explore says that these guys are pretty close to the Glaubermoor, which is the section for the Von Drakk Manor, not too far from it. So these guys are tougher than your Rattlebones because they still got some meat on their bones. Wish I'd have phrased that better. Next we have the Grabby House, and I can see why it got its name. It's actually grabbing with those arms there. Pretty tiny. It is actually shorter than Gruesome George by quite a bit. I don't know how I feel about having a house that's smaller than a man. I guess that makes him a giant. The house itself, compared to the miniatures, is kind of small. You'd have to really squish in there. I guess it's like having a kid's playhouse, you know, those Fisher Price preschool type things that your parent and some kids' parents bought them. It's like little girls can go in there and play like they're playing at house. but it's not big enough to really fit anyone. Okay, now the next one is a Prowler zombie. Nice little action pose. I'm going to have an interesting time coloring that jaw. Hope it's not delicate, falls off. And we have the pet, of course, in gray, Mr. Bitey, who is also slightly bigger than the Grabby house. Well, what can you do? The house is meant to be representative, not necessarily to scale, and it's really nicely detailed. So I guess I shouldn't be complaining too much about it being in a slightly smaller scale than I would have expected it to be just to fit this. All in all, this set is really nice. Happy I picked it up. Now let's end this. I hope this won't be anticlimactic. I am kind of sorry in a sense. The tiles really have been the highlight so far, despite my liking the miniatures. But the artwork on the houses is really good. So last but not least, hopefully, the Twilight Knight. Once again, this is from a crossover from the Kingdom Death Monster game. This one comes in an... It's not an individual sleeve, but it might as well function as one. I don't see a reason to take it out of this, actually. It's an individual card in an individual sleeve. It's perfectly sealed. I think I'll just leave it in there. Nicely preserved. And the miniature comes in a miniature Ziploc. Well protected. Airsight. Okay, so let me look her over and tell you what I think. Well, first off, try to see a bit for yourself. She's got the long sword held up in one hand. She has a large flowing cape. Her free hand is dangling a bit. The sword is a little bit bent. I'll have to practice with some hot water to do that. And over here on the side, underneath the sword, is a lantern, or gem. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, and didn't actually back Kingdom Death Monster. There are some tattered holes in the cape. It's blowing upwards, I guess, like she just leapt into action. Let's look at her techniques. Piercing blade, it's a lance for 2. It's pretty nice. It only costs 1 action, so it's nice cheap multi-hit move if you got them lined up. Gloom Shatter, that one costs 2 to activate. A 2 aura, reduced all offense rolls made within the aura by the Twilight, except the Twilight Knights. So this has the danger symbol on it, so this will affect your allies too. Her potion is called Lamplight. It's a wave 5 and destroys all traps and creeps within that wave. So I guess the lamp, it is a lamp. Don't know if it has crystals in it, but it is a lamp. And that's what she uses to destroy traps and creeps. All in all, a very interesting little figure. She interacts with the environment. She has Feint as a defensive ability, mostly avoiding attacks. That's all there is to say about her. She's a pretty nice little miniature. I guess I picked her up as an impulse buy. I don't really regret her. The sword needs to be fixed, although looking at the curve, it might just actually be supposed to look that way. The box art clips out about halfway through, so maybe this is supposed to be a sickle-style sword, or curved like a katana. I'll try to straighten it out, but if it doesn't work, I'll just let it be. I do like these miniatures. They're pretty great, but there's limits to what I can do. I'm not a professional by any means. So all in all, let me talk about, I guess I'll go into my satisfaction on these guys. Twilight Knight may prove to be a collectible yet. I do not see her for sale on the website anytime soon, but that may or may not change. If it does, then it'll just be a regular miniature, and I am not sure that I would have bought her over some of the others who are also very nice, like Captain R or one of the Relic Knights crossover miniatures. I've been looking forward to getting Kaliko Kate, and have not yet, so I might have chosen her over the Twilight Knight if it turned out that the Knight was not unique or limited edition or Kickstarter exclusive. The Stilt Town Zombies pack, I am heavily biased in favor of, even if I was not a fan of the sculpts or the quality. I would have kept it just for the theme itself. So I'm not a good judge for that one, but I'm 100% satisfied with that one. Onto the tiles. The slimes are great. They are not going to require time to paint. So that's if that's a factor for you, you want to have a multiple color. You want to have a multicolor set within your collection, and you can't really muster up the energy to paint more of them. These guys will fit in very well. You'll get more tile variety, and you'll get miniatures that you don't need to paint, and you just toss them in, add them into the collection. No fuss. Really good recommendation. Some of the tiles, like I said, were beautiful. Very nicely looking. But yeah, the real winner was the Von Drakk Manor. I'm just blown away. I love the theme. It's perfect. It's September 18th today. It'll be Halloween soon. I can easily look forward to setting up some games with people who are in the holiday spirit, and it'll be awesome. So I got nothing bad to say about the set. Definitely completely satisfied with my purchases. And that is my consumer review. Boxes look to be very reusable. Storage shouldn't be an issue. Card decks, you may consider picking one up because of the sheer number of them. If not, all of this should be. It's not an awful lot of cards, especially with the terrain ones. They're pretty repeats, so you can probably just store them with the Forgotten King box. And I don't see any issues with anything, honestly. It's a very nice set. I'm looking forward to painting all of the undead. Looking forward to trying to figure out a nice scheme if I'm not going to paint by numbers the Marie Claude miniature. And all in all, that is going to be it for us. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, leave a like if you want to see more. And I will see you in my next unboxing / opinions and review. Happy playing!